Trump's comments during this past Tuesday's debate have once again brought the subject of race into the foreground. When asked to reject and condemn white supremacy, specifically the Proud Boys, a known white supremacist militia group with Nazi inclinations, he said they should stand back and stand by, a clear non-rejection and in fact a pretty obvious encouragement of these dark forces in our country. In 1994, it seemed pretty obvious that O.J. Simpson had murdered his wife and left clear DNA evidence at the crime scene only to be absolved in 1995. I remember at the time realizing the planet most aligned in correlations with race matters is Pluto. O.J. had a square his ascendant when he did the killing, but since it isn't wired in his chart with enough hard aspects to make it sufficiently astrologically dangerous, and because the ascendant square was also concurrent with trines to his Mercury and Moon, he was able to escape conviction. What struck me about this period was the level of interest and outrage in North America regarding what looked like a miscarriage of justice, in this case due to what appeared to be a black man pretending to be white and availing himself of full-blown white privilege through high-priced lawyers who were ultimately able to get him off the hook, and then the decision of a mostly black jury to acquit him in what appeared to be a kind of payback against a system of law and order that was often used against them. Bottom line, race, race, race. And if you look at the US chart, in 1994 and 1995, Pluto was squaring the US moon from Scorpio. This is a very important transit because the US is a Cancer country, and Cancer is ruled by the moon. Now we look at Trump, and what we see is he has Pluto rising in the first sign, indicating a self-image of autocracy, plutocracy, and by extension, racist impulses, which we can trace all the way back to the 1970s. As with OJ, Pluto isn't making enough hard aspects to make it super dangerous. At most, it is in a weak semi-sesqui square to his sun and moon. Nevertheless, it is still Pluto, always a potential dark force, and when he was elected in 2016, it was squaring his Jupiter. Everyone can recall the subject of race already came up then, and even though he was openly anti-Hispanic, anti-Muslim, and refused to condemn David Duke, the KKK man, he still managed to get elected. Much like I've said, that in Biden's case, if you're going to hit a planet, hit Jupiter. Since it is very strong, it will take the hit. Hitting Trump's Jupiter isn't going to be enough to sink him. Now in 2020, Pluto is once again very active, though now it is by attacking Saturn and Venus. At minimum, this is a more dangerous challenge than in 2016, because these two planets are 12th house dwellers, which makes it a much bigger threat. And of course, Pluto in this case is but one of many other planetary attacks he is having to beat back, because essentially all of the outer planets are ganging up on him at the same time. And now for the bottom line. Notice that as this topic has once again arisen in late September, early October 2020, due to the debate earlier this week, Pluto is in its station opposite his Saturn. Stations are notorious for bringing a subject to the foreground, and the effect will be positive or negative depending on the aspect. Oppositions are hard, and so is Pluto. Therefore, it is unsurprising to notice that the controversy isn't playing well for Trump, and is now almost certainly going to be a factor in what will ultimately happen in the final election result. From here to election night and beyond, Pluto remains in this opposition pattern to his Saturn and Venus, and when all is said and done, I'm betting the race factor will be remembered as one of the key reasons Trump was taken down.